Thank you, Shazwi. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, very happy to be here. And first of all, I would like to congratulate each and every one of you, for getting the university offer, satu, meeting the academic requirement, be it 38 IB ke, 38 3As ke, okay, or CGPA 3.5 ke, meeting the requirement and eventually getting the placement of university. So congratulations, and I feel that each and every one of you should give yourself a pat at the back and give yourself round applause for make it through to the first hurdle lah. Okay, yang those who are with us from the A-level days, okay, you got selected based on your SPM result, and then you promised us that you'll get the 3As at least, okay, and also the university offer, you got it, okay. Not only that you managed to get the 3As requirement, but some have gotten, has done extraordinarily well in your A-level as well. Ada yang promise I 4A+, dapat 4A+, 4A star, ada yang kata nak bagi I 3A star, dapat 3A star. So good. So very, very happy to know that you have done extremely well in your A-level. Also not forgetting our scholars in MCM, Yasmin, although, it's a different requirement. Yeah, yang kawan-kawan kita A-level, you are required to get the 3As at least. Okay, but for IB, you said that, at least get yourself a 38. As your IB diploma. But I think Yasmin, she promised us, not only getting the 38, but she managed to get 42. 42, guys. All right, congratulations, Yasmin. Okay, right. So I hope that whatever that you have gained, what you have achieved, will be something that that the juniors will look up for and strive their best to follow suit lah, basically. So they follow suit the footstep ataupun all the achievement that the seniors have recorded thus far. Okay, right. Now I'm going to be very, very informal here, okay, because I feel that it is very important for me to address at this particular platform, because after this, the only time that we'll be engaging with you, although we do that quite frequently via online and also virtual, but physically, to be with you, it will take us months. It will take us months. I believe, according to our calendar, the next session physically that we're going to have with you, probably for the UK folks, in March ataupun in April. So we'll be traveling probably before your Easter break lah kot. Yeah, before your Easter break basically. So that's during the time when we normally go and have this physical engagement with our scholars. Not only with our scholars, we are also meeting our partners in the UK as well, because we do have a string of partners that that we frequently engage on an annual basis. Yeah, the university like the Oxford, the OCs, the Chevenix, the Rhodes, so on and so forth, okay? But for those of you who are flying out to the US, okay? Anyone going to the US? Oh yes, okay, seorang ke? Asalnya ada beberapa ke, Lina? Sorry? Oh yeah, the rest, they have already flown, okay, all right. So, probably, inshallah, we'll be traveling to see you at your respective university sometime in October ataupun November next year. This year. So we'll see you often kat sana while you are still fresh and just starting your life over there, okay? Now, the reason why we do this, probably, you've been asking, why do we do this? Because we're quite a high touch point kind of a scholarship provider. The care and also the engagement that we have with each and every one of our scholars too are quite frequent and quite personalized. Because we do have an agenda. Our agenda is really to groom and nurture the pool of potential leaders for the country. Okay, and I was a scholar myself too, long time ago. I didn't get this kind of intervention from my scholarship provider back then. You know, I only got to get the letter, and that's pretty much it. You know, so every month I will just go to the ATM, you know, and just, you know, take out my monthly subsistence allowance, and that's pretty much it. At the end of my studies, I'll get another letter. So I do not know exactly, you know, are we meant to be, you know, are we meant to be developed as potential leaders ke, ataupun are we, you know, are selected as talent for the country ke? You know for a fact that we were good students then, but we had an agenda to fulfill, but nothing more and nothing less, basically. But in YK, we are very clear of why we are doing this. You know, we need to develop each and every one of you, because each and every one of you matters to us. Not only matters to YK, not only matters to Khazanah, but matters to the bigger umbrella of KLC, GLC, the government, and also the nation, the country. Like I said earlier on in your onboarding session hari tu kan, macam every year, you know, we will receive a solid and dedicated allocation only for scholarship. Tak ada kurang pun. Bermaknanya the agenda to nurture talent for the country is always there. And it's always been the priority to Khazanah. They could actually be opting out, you know, to maybe reduce or decrease the allocation, you know. But they said that no, in fact, they asked us to really go out there and create partnership with other organizations so that the allocation can be increased and more people and more talent can be benefiting from this particular program. So I need you to always remember that you are here for a mission. We are here for a mission. And you need to also know your responsibility. Now, the reason why I also felt that I need to address this at this juncture, basically, because, you know, you'll be flying out, you'll be totally on your own. You're no longer in the care of a dedicated college in Lembah Beringin, you know, who will, you know, maybe, I don't know, you know, did they have a structured ataupun intervention to take care of the well-being of the students? You know, it's a closed compound. You know, there's a guard in front of the gate. You have your teachers, you have your, I do not know lah, counselor dan sebagainya, kan? So it's a very close and confined surrounding. And you have a set of rules and regulation that you need to adhere to. Betul tak? So if you breach that set of rules, then ada demerit system lah, ada some maybe, you know, penalties dan sebagainya, because it's still a college and you are bounded by all the set regulation and rules. Sama juga with MCM. It's a school, so close confined. Now, you'll be flying out, and I mean, this is not maybe PG ni, maybe I need to sort of, you know, like, my narration would be maybe one saja, but I think I need the PG to really, okay, I think I've heard this before, but really not, you know, doesn't really concern me ke apa ke, but, you know, but please, also please, hear me too lah, yeah? Now, when you fly nanti ni, tak kisahlah. Faris pergi mana, Faris? Beijing kan? Do you have your, when are you flying? Not sure yet. Okay. So you get the notification soon, I believe so too. Now, when you fly nanti to your respective university, tak kisahlah King's College ke, UCL ke, LSE ke, PEDA ke, you know, Berkeley ke, you'll be on your own. Of course, the university will have their own sets of rules and regulation, but you're pretty much charting your own life over there. Okay? Tak ada dah Puan Kas of the world, Cik Azman of the world, tak ada. This is all related. Oh, the PG macam siapa ni poin nak cakap ni? These are the KUEM folks will understand this, guys. Yeah. So these are, you know, these profiles would be, you know, hopping over their neck if they are making mistakes, so on and so forth. Okay, and there's no like Lina, you know, WhatsApping you. Okay, we can still WhatsApp you though, but you know, there's no Lina will be driving maybe 1 hour, 15 minutes to Lembah Beringin, you know, for you to get a scolding. Tak ada. You'll be pretty much on your own. Okay, when I say that you're pretty much on your own, so you need to very, very make sure that, the good and the bad lah. Okay, make sure that always remember, okay, benda-benda yang tak elok, jangan buat. Benda-benda yang elok, continue doing. Okay? Because there's no one there to say that, okay, you will have your housemate, your roommate, okay lah, you look out for each other. But, that you'll be on your own lah. You'll be on your own. And always remember, as a Khazanah scholar, you are bringing the Khazanah's name together with you. Okay? Maybe at this juncture, you say that, oh, I ni budak baik pun. I never in my school years ke, KYUM years ke, in my UG years ke, have committed offence ataupun tidak. Okay lah, well and dandy, that's good. Continue doing so. But the thing is, guys, maybe you're still here, you're in a safe haven. But when you're out there, I'm not saying that the other side of the world is not a safe haven. It can be a safe haven to you, but sometimes, a lot of things can happen. Temptations happen. Temptation comes in various forms. Illegal substance, indecent behaviors. Semua ni dekat dengan you, very close to you. If you're not able, to discharge your intelligence, your moral values, okay, appropriately, then the temptation can affect you. You can be affected by the temptation. Why I say so? Because it happened before. As the same address that I told to the same student, wanting to go for their pre-departure briefing, semua kata, takkanlah apa, I don't think that I'll take drugs. I don't think I will commit to the indecent, not appropriate behavior. Sekarang, sitting at your seat sekarang ni, I don't think that I'll do that. Memang, sekarang ni takkan happen kat you because you're in a safe haven. KYUM, UEM, kat KL with your parents, kat Shah Alam, kat Gombak. But then, kat sana nanti, you're not, believe me, it will get to you. So we do have occasion, we do have cases as such. While we are very excited to offer scholarship to people, we are also, not hesitant, to terminate the scholarship, to just seize the opportunity because of that offences that, that our scholars have committed sebelum ni. So be mindful of that. So when I talk about decorum, when I talk about demeanor, it's not only your behavior, it's about your values. When you see somebody is taking illegal ni, okay, first kali, as a Khazanah scholar, you will not be taking illegal substance because it's wrong. It will, it will affect your health, your reasoning, your emotion stability dan sebagainya. But as Khazanah scholar, not only that you need to do that, but you need to do extra. Meaning to say that you need to tell the people who are doing that not to do that. So you need to be one step even further than that. So that I nampak. Kalau you just distance yourself, good, well and dandy, that's good. Tapi like, you pergi advice, you say that, come on, do you need a counsellor? You need to be assisted ke apa ke? Make sure that that particular person is free of, of that particular environment ke apa ke? So that is another evidence that your leadership potential is realized then, because you step up even further to make that difference. Tu dia. Sekarang ni betul lah, memang the same. Every year, like I pray to God that I will not be getting any kind of cases. Kadang-kadang dapat from UCL lah, dapat dari ni lah, adalah. It's really heartbroken because we thought that we already have you for a good, especially for the UG ni, we have already gotten you for a good 2 years under our care, and we thought that we have injected that DNA in each and every one of you, that kind of moral values, that kind of competencies, traits. Tapi jadi juga. So be mindful. Okay, be mindful. Itu satu je. Perkara yang baik dan perkara yang buruk. There are also other perkara yang grey ni lah. So this grey ni, whether it's, you need to decide. Why you need to decide? Because you are all adults. You need to do the weighing lah. Okay, mana? Sometimes you need to do that because it'll get you to that particular destination. And sometimes you don't have to do that because it will create more harm than good, basically. So you need to do the weighing yourselves. Okay? So UG. So itu peringatan Peringatan, ingat tu. And you are here for a reason, you are here for a purpose. Fulfill that mission. Fulfill that purpose. Once you get back, it's all masa the tenure 3 tahun dekat UCL ke, berapa tahun ke dekat King's College ke, okay, we'll take care of you. All your requirement, your support will be given to you so that you will be nurtured, you'll be given the opportunity to grow. Tetapi selepas you habis belajar, when you come back, it's no longer about you. It's about you making the difference out there, you contributing back. For those who have contributed to your growth for the last 5 years, 6 years. Okay? Faham ya? Ingat the values. Fly the Khazanah's flag higher for all good reasons. Now I need to change the narration a little bit to our folks kat belakang tu lah. A bit senior in age and maybe wiser lah. You don't need this kind of bebelan from me, I believe so too, because you are already postgraduate. But I think the postgraduate, the requirement ataupun the expectation is slightly different. Okay, you already passed your hurdle for your undergraduates. Dah habis dah, all done deal. Some of you has already been working before. Well, good and dandy as well. Okay, but I think what is required for you is just like you need to fulfill that requirement. Because we need that particular talent who has that kind of maturity, who has had that kind of, working experiences to come and make the difference quicker. Yang ni lambat. Ni nak tunggu masak ranum lama. 3 tahun, 4 tahun, lepas tu dah masuk to the workforce, baru nak masuk management training program. Setahun, 2 tahun program. Lambat. You are already there. You passed that hurdles already. So once you come back, some of you are already at the middle management level. So do your part at the middle management level. Okay? Do your influencing. Do make a difference in your own capacity, so that whatever things that you do, it'll become quicker. Quicker to go to the next level, quicker to go to the to the hierarchy in whatever field that you are in. Kena cepat. Because you've been assisted for your postgraduate. Postgraduate ni sebenarnya dia tak lama, dia tak 3 tahun. Yang buat PhD lama lah, okay, 3-4 tahun. Tapi yang buat master setahun or 2 years only, okay? So it's really good intervention, good time for you to really build up your capacity, very specific capacity. Because you already know what you wanted to do, you already know where you are heading. Cepat. So because I read your plans, I read your essay, whatever that you've written there, and I know it. And I thought that, we can support your plan there. So you need to really fulfilling your plan because we believe you when you told us your plans. Okay? So that's the postgraduate. So the postgraduate ni nanti ni, that you will be assessed. Our impact assessment starts particularly quicker with the postgraduate. And then the board will ask, how many of the leaders have churned out from your program? Where are they? You told us that they are middle management level. After 2 years, where are they in terms of their hierarchy, for example? Satu, where are they in terms of some of the changes that they are making in policy, in guidelines, in the spaces that they are in? So these questions will be asked to us. Okay, slightly different expectation, but very, very, very important. So that's the reason why our talent intake came, it comes from various intake points. The juniors. So we chose them fresh out of school. Mcp, betul. Kan? Ingat lagi. Siapa lagi? Luqman. Luqman I tahu dia 2 ni Mcp. Yes. Mahathir. Tawau kan? Kesandakan. Datu. Okay. MRSM kan? Okay, lupa. Amai betul dah sekarang. Dulu I ingat. Everyone dulu tu I ingat sebab we only offer scholarship tu tak ramai. Kalau dekat global tu belah-belah je. So I know them by heart. 14 tak mai. Not only that I know them by heart, I know the mak tok. Semua tu I kenal. Because we send them, we bid them farewell at airports. And when the parents send the kids, at the airport, and only the parents are there, the whole family is there. The mak tok is there. The tok mak, and then we got to see them. And then we got to know them. Okay, and then we got to stay in touch with them. I don't know if this is good or not, but okay, so that's how we do. But the numbers gets bigger lah, besar sekarang ni. So please excuse me if some of my points too maybe not that more lah, yeah. Okay, so yes, so I think coming back to that, I think for the UG tu lain, because you'll be spending lama sangat ni dekat abroad ni. Dekat US yang cakap lah 4 tahun. Tak ada 3 tahun program kat US. Betul? UK okey lah. Yang buat McKenzie yang akan ada 4 tahun. Okay? So please, be mindful of whatever things that I've just advised to you lah, yeah? So again, I don't want to, maybe to prolong this, and I hope that I make my points very, very clear to you. Okay? Just think that, one thing you can't go wrong with this understanding of this particular part. Like, you are here for a reason, and you have a mission to fulfill. Mission to fulfill tu bukan senang, ya. Susah sebenarnya nak galas responsibility sebagai scholar ni sebenarnya. Harapan bangsa, harapan negara tu besar dekat you all. So, jangan hampakan saya. Jangan hampakan Lina, Daya, our board of trustee. Sebab like I said, it's a tall order for us. 3,000 yang apply, we only said yes to 30 global. 2,000, and I read all the essay, and sometimes I think, this is what I usually do, to press the reject button I would normally do it like 1, 2 pagi. Terasa, all life depend on you. They have written, they put their heart and soul toward application. The essay is actually who they are and what they want to achieve in life. And to push that and say that no go, it's heartbreaking, kan? So you feel that, your life is hard because you need to fulfill the 3.5, the 2.1 requirement. Okay, put yourself in my shoes to say no to those hopefuls kat luar tu. Okay, alright. So I think that's the message lah, guys, that I would like to share with you. Okay, I wish you all the best. I wish you, a very fulfilling journey. Belajar dan juga get this real education. Belajar bukan sahaja dekat dalam kelas. Belajar can also happen in the swimming pool, dekat track, when you go out doing some community in Auckland, for example, kat California tu, or sometimes my mentee work in a bar dekat UK. Cakap, why? Cukup duit ke? Cukup, dia kata, because he's quite introvert. So he want to break that, so that he can be quite comfortable talking to people. Nama dia Chi Cheng. I said, why you work in a bar, Chi Cheng? Yeah, so that I'll be able to, to be comfortable, boost my confidence level. So why not? If that could help you, so why not? So life lesson can also happen in the bar. Just to put it simply. Okay, guys, I hope that it makes sense to you. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in a short while during the Wacky Awards Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Puan Intan, for such deep message. I believe that all scholars appreciate that advice by Puan Intan. Without further ado, I would like to invite Medaz Lina to give a pre-departure briefing for YK scholars.
Okay, sure. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Happy to see all of you. Right, so it's ironic because not 12 of you, at least 9 of you here, the last time I met was during the awards day 2 years back. And then after that, all the encounter was virtually. And here we are again, meeting you guys face to face. So I'm so excited, right? Okay, so Assalamualaikum and good morning. I'm Miss Lina, in charge of Global Scholarship Program as well as the Branding and Communication at Yayasan Khazanah. Right, so as you guys are going to embark into exciting new chapter in your life, we are here to support in your journey. So in today's session, I'll be sharing and providing some guidance and also some pertinent information to assist your travel as well as life in UK, US and China, inshallah. Right? So before I start, congratulations to each and every one of you for being offered into the top universities abroad. So as you know, we only send scholars to top universities in the world. So congratulations, guys. Yep. So getting undergraduate scholar into Harvard seemed impossible a few years back. But Alhamdulillah, that was made possible by our first scholar, Zad Chin, 2 years back. And for this year, we have Karisma to follow suit. So Karisma will be going to Harvard. She is already in Harvard. Dia siap share lagi gambar dia dengan dia punya student tag. She was so excited, right? So I'm sure you guys will feel the same way soon. Then we have Lily. Lily is also already in the US. She's at Columbia. She'll be pursuing engineering. She has yet to decide which branch of engineering. Yep. And we have Adib. Adib, jangan nakal-nakal kat Berkeley tu, ya. Right, so Adib is in Berkeley now. Congratulations. And we have Hasha here. So Hasha belum fly lagi. Happy to see you, Hasha. So Hasha will be furthering her studies in sociology in Stanford University. Next, we have Hazim. Hazim is our first ever scholar gotten into Johns Hopkins University in the USA. Sorry. So Hazim will be studying computer engineering. Next, we have our master student, Ratio. Ratio is already in Yale. He's done his orientation. Ratio will be furthering his studies in environmental management. Next, we have Kevin. Kevin is in NYU. Kevin is under the Lestari Scholarship Program. So he'll be doing MPA, Public and Non-Profit Management and Policy. So those are the 7 who'll be going to the US. So tahun ni paling ramai yang pergi US. So we have 7 of them. And next to UK, going to Oxford would be Anson Ng. Anson will be pursuing Master Science in Economics for Development. Then we have Syed Nizamuddin, Master of Studies in Diplomatic Studies. And Shamila Heng, who will be furthering her studies in Islamic Studies and History. Congratulations. So the 3 of them will be under Khazanah, Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies, Merdeka Scholarship Program. So to UCL, we have 5 amazing ladies. Yeah, we have Ruby. Ruby will be studying infancy and early childhood development. We have Warsha, mathematical computation. We have Lubna. Lubna is also joining us virtually. She'll be pursuing Master Science, Speech and Language Sciences. Lubna is under Lestari Scholarship Program. Then we have Amelia, Electrical Engineering. and Nurhanis Mastura, Master Science Humanitarianism, Aid and Conflict. So Anis is also under the Lestari Scholarship Program. Congratulations, guys. So tahun ni LSE paling ramai. So I had trouble fitting in all the photos in one slide. So we have Candy. Candy will be studying social innovation and entrepreneurship. We have Najla studying international political economy. We have Hanson Chong, who will be pursuing Master Science in Social Research Methods. We have Dr. Shamin, Master Science Health Policy Planning and Financing. We have Faiz Shafi, Actuarial Science. We have Farah Nabila. Farah is also dialing in. She'll be pursuing Master of Public Policy. And last but not least, we have Lukman, who'll be studying Politics and Economics. And to King's College London, we have Razak and Mahade. Both of them plans to study mathematics. And we have Jasmine, who's planning to do economics and management. Last but not least, joining those going to UK is Qayyum Suhaimi. So Qayyum ni, macam-macam sikit lah. Geo-energy with machine learning and data science. Wow. All the best, Qayyum. Okay. The only one going to China, but to Peking University, is Faris Afif. So Faris will be studying computer science and technology. So once again, congratulations, guys. So I'll be, I will recap on the program structure once again. So I'm sure this seems familiar to you. Of course, as a scholar, you need to complete your full-time studies in your respective university. You need to attend the YKPSP program. You need to undergo the internship program, being civic and also business internship. Civic is for 4 weeks, and business is for 8 weeks. Then you need to participate in community development as and when required. And eventually, you will become the Khazanah Scholars Alumni Association. Yep. So as mentioned by Puan Intan earlier, we have high touch point with our scholars. Right, so we engage through WhatsApp. I mean, you guys been doing it now, right? So you do WhatsApp me, then you call me, email me for clarification, for further information. Yes, that continues. I'll be here to support you guys. Despite the time differences nanti pun, but maybe allow some time for me to revert lah. But normally I'll do that, inshallah, if any chance I get. So we do, of course, every year we do travel. Now that the COVID situation has improved tremendously, so we are planning to travel to UK, US, China every year, inshallah. So otherwise, other sessions will be done virtually. So tak payah, we don't normally wait for the physical engagement to happen, but we do Zoom meeting as well. Then we are on Insta and Facebook, so please follow us, like our posts, and if you have any sharings, do update us. We will be more than happy to update on our socials, right? And then after this, I will add you in the group WhatsApp, where we have a dedicated WhatsApp group for those in US, UK, semua China, then ada group masing-masing. So I will add you guys in, right? So personal record. So if there's any change, especially in your phone number, bila dah kat sana, you have your UK, US, China mobile number, please update me. And if there's other changes in terms of your email address or correspondent address, let me know as well. You are also required to update portal. Portal ni bukan waktu nak upload result semua kena remind. Bukan setakat nak request untuk claim je apply, nak request flight je apply. You need to update your profile and records as well. All right? So if you need to share your information, maybe later on with your prospective employers ke apa ke, we will use your latest data. Okay, this is also a reminder. As you know, as a YK scholar, you are required to maintain good and strong academic results throughout. So 3.5 is a must, second class upper is a must, right? Failing which, what happens? First year not meeting, warning letter, and consultation with me for global, and with Mr. Shazvi for Lestari. Second time not meeting, same thing, but maybe consultation tu lama sikit, and the warning letter might be, sterner. And the third time not meeting, we will stop the allowance. So actually kita ni consider baik lah. I mean only if third time tak meet, baru kita stop the allowance. Itu pun allowance only. Your tuition fees, other fees associated with your uni will still go on, right? So we won't stop that. Itu berjalan, cuma you won't have pocket money for your makan minum and your accommodation. But let's not think about that lah. I'm quite confident all of you will not go through that stage, insyaAllah. Right? Okay, again, you guys are very lucky to have competitive living allowances. I mean, all of you have already gotten your placement allowances. Yup, simpan, don't be, too excited getting, lump sum banyak sangat because you might be using it later on once you are there. So spend wisely. The laptop allowance pun dapat. You guys dapat banyak juga tu because, laptop now is cheap. So use that in case, because we don't support for repairs or software update whatsoever. So kalau yang belajar for 4 years tu, 4 tahun tu memang itu je lah, one off je. But of course we give you extra in case you need to update, you want to change whatever hardware ke apa ke, you can use that fund to do that. Yep. So you got the placement allowance already. Then after completion of your studies, once you are back, we'll provide you with end of study allowance. We will support your flight to and fro, meaning first time to country of your studies, and after completion, when you're back, another time, we'll support. Also for graduation. Graduation pun kita bayar juga. Do apply to us to do the booking. If you to apply on your own, then we'll only reimburse you up to 1650 for those going to UK. Yeah? All right. So once you are there, at China ke, UK ke, US tu, make sure you open the local bank account. Once you have done that, you need to share with me your bank account details in this particular format. Account name, number, bank name, address sekali, SWIFT code lah, soft code lah, apa semua, date of birth, and IBAN. Right? So make sure your account is active. If meaning active as in there'll be transaction in 6 months period. Otherwise, kalau your account is not active and then you lambat-lambat ke apa ke, any fees associated with that will not be borne by us. Okay. Medical insurance, yes. If for UK, NHS is under us, so we do support in the surcharge apa semua. You guys have paid, so make sure you submit your claim. Allow us up to 2 months to process. Unless you are really in dire need of cash ke apa ke, which I doubt, then do email to me. We try to arrange for urgent payment. Yep. And group life insurance ni, of course the beneficiary is YK lah. But na'udzubillah min zalik, if anything were to happen, the coverage is up to 1 million. Okay. So overseas travelling, once you are there, if let's say biasalah, especially those in UK, you nak travel to nearby, places, do declare in the portal. Bukan kita sibuk nak tahu, nak stalk kita punya scholar, but this is for our record, and in case of anything yang happen, it's easier to know your whereabouts. Okay? So there's a travelling declaration tab in the portal, so you can fill up the details there. So call trees, sometimes we do activate for call trees, especially if there's, apa-apa lah dekat UK, US ke China, if there's anything that happened. So we want to know whether you guys are okay or not, so we will activate call tree. So make sure you respond to that call tree as soon as you see the results. Jangan sampai I nak kena call tengah-tengah malam sini kan, you all mungkin pagi ke apa ke, please try not to do that lah. So as soon as you get the message, do reply. All right. Okay, I will skip this because I think all of you have already completed your visa, and this biometric semua ni dah. So accommodation, all of you first time, maybe especially the undergrads, you'll be staying on campus. So I'm sure you have already arranged for that. We will provide you with subsistence allowance, and you have to pay for your accommodation on your own based on that subsistence allowance. So why we make it flexible is that because some people, mungkin dia nak, he or she prefers to spend more for makan or maybe other things. So he or she doesn't mind staying away, or a bit far from the campus. So murah lah sikit accommodation. So dia akan spend banyak untuk makan, minum ke, transportation ke, or travelling ke, right? So if those yang malas nak jalan or very active, very involved in the co-curricular activities in the college, prefers to stay closer, then of course you can do that, tapi you kena kurang sikit. Pandai-pandai lah you all manage. You guys are adult, so we leave it to you how you want to manage your allowances, right? So if let's say for now, if on campus ni, it's a bit straightforward, but maybe second year onwards you want to stay outside, so make sure you read the agreement, the tenancy agreement before signing. YK will not be a guarantor, okay? Sometimes diorang minta a guarantor kan, so we don't be a guarantor. And also the placement allowance that you all dapat ni, you can actually save that to serve as a deposit later when you want to rent a place, so you can use that to pay for your deposit, okay? So what to pack? Yep, I think you know lah kan. If let's say important documents, to make sure you make a copy. University offer letter, insurance, travelling insurance ke apa ke, make a copy. And then what to pack to, suitable clothing. You will receive you have received your seasonal apparel allowances, but then it's wise to shop for winter clothing too there because it's cheaper and lagi stylo kan, macam-macam design they have. So you can shop there, and sekarang ni it's still not too cold. You can do the shopping there. If you are under any medication, make sure you bring your medication yang perlu masa you punya flight sahaja, and it would be good if there's a letter from a doctor to confirm that you are not well and then you have been prescribed with whatever medicine. It's always good to have that. Because we never know kan, kadang-kadang orang dekat immigration, orang dekat airport tu, it's really hard to predict. We never know, dapat yang banyak songnya macam-macam dia tanya. So we don't want that to, hamper you all punya departure nantilah. What not to pack, I think of course drugs, weapons, meat, fruit, semua tu tak boleh. So immigration, if you are clear, you are certain that there's nothing for you to declare, follow the green lane. If let's say tak sure, mungkin ada bawa pekasam ke budu ke, you're not too sure, then best to follow the red lane. Alright. So onward to your institutions. If you're flying alone, you can make use of the international office at your respective university. You can ask them to arrange. Try to arrive during the working hours. I think for majority of you, this is the first time you'll be flying abroad. So maybe not that familiar, especially when you're flying alone though. It's always best to travel and to make sure you arrive during daytime. Okay. Yang ini, alright. Money matters. Make sure bawa cash in hand that is sufficient enough in case tiba-tiba something happen. At least ada cash untuk stay a night in a hotel ke apa ke. Not too much lah, takut hilang, takut orang question apa-apa. Then some useful tips: prepare monthly budget, monitor your credit card online, try to purchase second-hand book, utilize library resources. Library dekat overseas memang, heaven lah. There's a lot of useful resources for you to utilize. Make use of your student discounts at shops, cafes. Normally ada at least 10% student discount. Yes, make use of that. And if let's say dekat London tu ada student Oyster card, right? Okay, health insurance for those flying to UK, as I mentioned, is under NHS. To US, we will pay for insurance directly to your respective universities. Okay. So medical costs, those yang free under the coverage of NHS, So memang it will be under us. Anything that's beyond medication or eye test, dental will not be reimbursed by us. So we don't cover for dental or anything beyond what's covered by NHS tu lah. If vaccination, some free, go ahead, get it. And we would encourage you to get yearly flu jab as well. But of course, it's not covered under us. Okay? So health and safety again, follow the local rules, law, SOPs, respect all cultures. Make sure attend the classes, jangan penting, right? And failure to follow the rule could cause fine or cancellation of visa. Make sure you respect all people. You akan pergi ni jumpa orang from various, diverse background and cultures. Make sure you respect that. So if you wish to work part-time, okay, it's like this. The allowance that we provide you with is actually sufficient. Yeah, but in case you need extra pocket money, do let us know. Okay, consult your scholarship manager. And you also need to check your visa punya restrictions. And most importantly, make sure your grades are not affected. Okay? So make sure you be alert, aware, and careful at all times, right? And if there's emergency, dial 999. And the thing that I've spoke about earlier, the flu jab. So checklist before leaving home. Make sure you carry hand carry luggage. So dalam tu letaklah all the documents, the valid passport and visa, the details of university and accommodation, your offer letter, the TB atau medical report, insurance, travel insurance if you have, bank draft, credit cards, air tickets, jangan lupa, departure details. If you have arranged for airport pickup, make sure you have that as well. And other details regarding BPR to those going to UK. Okay, so it's always good to save digital copies as well. Simpan dalam your email. In case apa-apa kan, kalau nak keluarkan dokumen, at least you have in your email. You can just show to them. Right, so in UK, we have Malaysian HiCom. Make sure you register with them. We will share your details, the standard details with them, but you need to register with them as well. So for UK, dekat London, US dekat Washington DC, in China dekat Beijing. So once you are there, get to know them. They do organize events, networking session. Kalau ada masa pergi je, kenal-kenal dengan fellow Malaysians in there. Make friends. Okay, so of course, by now you should know that the health and well-being of our scholars are our utmost priority. We really care for you guys, right? And each university also, they offer welfare services. So make use of the free counseling and mental health support. But sometimes, the queue could be very long. Kalau tak dapat, of course, you can always approach your friendly scholarship managers. For Global, me, and for Lestari, Mr. Shazwi. Kalau kita rasa macam your keadaan is a bit teruk and need to be referred to a clinical psychologist, we will do that. So we have a clinical psychologist called Miss Mian at the moment. So we will refer you to that person. Right? So kalau at the point yang you rasa macam dah tak boleh dah, tak tahan dah, something happen and then you need to talk to someone apart from your scholarship manager, do let us know, do reach out. Yeah? Get support from your tutors, your lecturers in universities. They are there to help you guys. So fully utilize them. Discover new places. Of course, meeting the grades. That's a given. Memang as a YK scholar, 3.5, second class apa tu, memang itu memang syarat utama lah. But at the same time, make sure you discover new places, go for cafe hopping ke, make new friends, learn other cultures, languages, right? So try new food, do that. Stay curious and learn beyond classroom. Don't be intimidated by others. Just be yourself. Chances are everyone there would be insecure as well, especially baru-baru ni kan, all people will be coming from all over the places. Of course, dari macam-macam nationalities there. Semua orang pun rasa macam, first time, rasa intimidated. So you're not alone, right? So first time, transition period tu, it's normal to feel that way. But after a while, you should get the hang of it, right? But of course, if let's say at that particular time you need to reach out, I'm always here for you, and I'm sure Mr. Shazvi will do the same for Lestari scholars as well, right? The best thing is to love what you guys are doing, spread love and peace. All right, guess that's all I have for you today. Sincerely, guys, I wish you all the best. Do stay in touch. Yeah, make sure you update me on your mobile number, your email number, and your bank account. If let's say if you tak buat, then we are unable to provide you with your subsistence allowance. So subsistence allowance ni, we will bank in every 7th of the quarter. So let's say Q4, by 7th October, we'll transfer. So every quarter we'll make the allowances punya ni. In case you need advance payment, especially those staying outside of campus, do email me, we can make arrangement. So katakan you kena bayar, the payment structure is that you need to pay 6 months once and you need advance allowances, let me know. I will inform finance, Puan Shazana, and she will do the needful. Okay, let me see, what time is it? Okay, I think we are behind the schedule, so I really need to pass to the next speaker. If you have any questions, you can always approach me after this session, okay, during lunch or maybe after awards day. So hold your horses. If you have any questions, come to me or Shazvi or any of us. Cool? Thank you, guys.
Do you have? Oh, okay, all right. Let me. Okay. Which one? Okay. Yes. Isha, right? Okay. Thank you, Puan Nazrina, for pre-departure briefing. Next, we have our Building Self-Resilient for Mental Wellness session. I would like to invite Michelle to deliver the session. Please.
Right, good morning, everyone. So from what Lina mentioned, that there is also some of the scholars who call in, right? Call in online. So welcome to those who is online as well. Just let me move this. Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you to Yayasan Khazanah, for the kind invitations, and special thanks to Lina as well for all the arrangement, yeah? And my name is Michelle. I'm a clinical psychologist from My Psychology. So it's good to be here, and I would like to say congrats to you guys, because just now I was sitting at the back, and I hear a lot of, all of you managed to go to the top university, which is great, okay? And I'm sure that there is a lot of mixed feelings, isn't it? Like, it's the first time going to new places, you might be staying away from your friends and family for quite some time, which I can relate to that very well. So a little bit about myself. I was graduated from Monash University back in Melbourne, in Australia. So I was there for 3 years, and then I worked there for a year. So I was been away from my family for quite some time. And I was thinking that, when my senior was approaching me and asked me that, oh, can you conduct this talk? I was thinking that, how can I, present and, share with you guys some of my experience and take this opportunity and tell you guys, how important taking care of your mental health during that, studying overseas time is very, very important. So I come up with these 4 parts. We'll talk about stress and emotions, depression, anxiety, what causes having depression, anxiety, how to get the right help and where to get it. And of course, I will teach you guys some very simple tips. That's why I name it ABC tips. So promise, it will be very, very simple. Okay. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me at any time. So let's start with the first one, and I believe that as the departure day is getting nearer, so some of you might be flying very soon, in 1 or 2 weeks, I believe, yeah? Okay, there is a lot of excitement going on, gonna meet a lot of cool people, a new country. But at the same time, I believe that there is a lot of uncertainty as well, going through on your mind. So I managed to, sort of compound 3 main stressors that usually international students will face. The first one will be definitely the culture shock, all right? And everything will be probably new to you. You have to approach new people to get, advice and direction, make new friends. That can be quite difficult, especially you're not fluent the language. So I believe one of the scholars who is going to China, okay, which is great, get to mix around with new people, exposed to a new culture. And maybe I can, share with you guys one of my own story when I was in Melbourne. So bear with me a little, just 2 minutes. Last time I was in Melbourne and I was having lunch with my friends, so in a restaurant, yeah. And we couldn't finish the food that we ordered. So there is this very kind waiter come and approach us and ask me, do you need a doggy bag? I was like, what? A doggy bag? I don't have a pet, and I'm not sure what do you mean. And trust me, it's very, very embarrassing. And I was just stunned there. And luckily, my friend is a local, and she was telling me that, it's tapao, right? Tapao, the tapao bag. I was like, oh, okay. So thank God my friend is there, but it's very, very awkward. But I guess I learned a new term, what doggy bag is, okay? So that can be quite stressful, yeah, sometimes, when this kind of scenario or this kind of situations happen. And the second one will be, of course, homesickness. At any point during your program, during your course, you might start missing home, especially when things get a little bit overwhelmed. I will foresee, which is the mid-semester. You will bombard with a lot of, mid-semester exam, the midterm test, there's assignment going on. And that sort of reminds you that, the family that, in your home country, in Malaysia. So stress will creep in, when you're feeling lonely especially, and you will have the feeling that you need to handle everything on your own. So, and the third one is high expectation, because, whether it's a high expectation to the country that you're flying to, US, UK, China, okay, you need to meet the academic the success, the CGPA that I see. Considering you are invest largely, into this whole program, you want to do it right, isn't it? So, even family, and I guess, even Kazana, we do have, expectations towards the scholar, you guys. And family might be thinking that after you're back, you need to secure a high-paid job, etc. So all this is the potential stressor, you might face when you're in overseas. And if you notice that these three points here, it links to uncertainty changes and also losing control. And that can be quite overwhelmed because you're gonna stuck in that situation for quite some time if you are not having a good coping skill. And that's when the difficult emotions will occur to us. And this is what you might be experiencing. There is a lot of thoughts, ruminations going on, okay? And when it comes to thoughts, when it comes to emotions, usually, when we turn to people, family, friends, they will tell you that, can you control your emotion a little bit? Can you not think too much? you already got what you managed to get, so just, live with it, etc. So these might be some of the advice that we might get, okay? And my question to you guys, all right, first question, yeah? Can I control my emotion then? Because a lot of people have been asking us that, please control your emotion, you need to calm down, right? So the first question is, can we control our emotion? So people who think yes, can you just put up your hands and for no? And people who think it's no, so you can raise up your hand, give me a show of hands. Who believe it's no? Yeah? Who believe it's yes? Not too sure? All right, so the answer is we cannot control our emotions because it's a natural reaction, right? And a lot of time that we thought we are controlling the emotions, in fact, we are actually repressing it or simply ignore it. Okay, and when we repressing it, when we ignore it, that's when, the emotions started to pile up, become a giant snowball, okay? And this is what's gonna look like. Okay, you can see that, the water is overflow from the sink because it's too much, it's too overwhelmed, too much to handle. And then you might be thinking that, then how do I get rid of it, Michelle, what should I do if that's really happened to me? Okay, so instead of, getting rid of the emotion, I would rather say that how can we cope with the emotions that we have? So first thing is trying to tune into them, oftentimes emotion is like our friends. I always tell my client that, emotion is like our best friend. It's trying to send us a very important message, a message that will guide us in, day-to-day interaction, decision-making, self-care, social interactions, okay? And how can we differentiate, feeling depressed, feeling anxious, and clinical depression and anxiety disorder? So it's just like all the, physical health testing or screening, because I understand that you guys undergo a body checkup for the visa application, right? Okay, so you run through blood tests, X-ray, etc. So this will be the physical health, and for mental health, we'll mainly rely on self-screening assessment, or if you happen to go to see a psychologist just for to test how's your mental health well-being is doing. They'll do also an interview or observations, all right? But we mainly do self-screening and assessment just to get a more objective view. Okay, so why do we feel depressed? A lot of time that, the feeling depressed or anxious doesn't mean that we are having, clinical depression or anxiety disorder. When we feel depressed, it could be, sense of loss because we might, lost the comfort zone that we used to be in Malaysia. You go to a new places, right? That can be quite depressing sometimes, And for feeling anxious, it's about the uncertainty that we might face in the future. Okay, and that's when the anxious feeling is telling us that, hey, you are going to a new environment, so be careful, be alert, etc. And that's when things get a little bit tricky, when the feeling of depressed is continuously happening for more than a period of time. That's when depression is occur. Same for anxious, the feeling of anxious. If that's is occurring, in a continuous manner, that's when you might need to get help, and there is a risk that you might have anxiety disorder. Okay, so what should we do then? How can we know whether it is just a feeling of depressed or whether we get it's a clinical disorder? So if you guys are okay, can you get your phone out and scan the QR code? So I would like you to do a very quick self-screening. Okay, and maybe just take a look on how your mental health is doing before depart. So let's do the PHQ first, all right? The PHQ is test on the depressions, and the GAD-7 is testing on the anxiety disorder. It's just an indication, so you can keep the score for yourself. You don't have to reveal the score to me. And after 5 minutes, I'll explain what the score means to you in a bit. Okay. So you guys are doing the PHQ-9, right? Have you guys done it? And okay, we can leave the JD7 later. I mean, I'm sure that they'll give you a copy of the slide, hopefully. Okay. So after the PHQ-9, is it difficult to answer the questions? No, right? Quite straightforward, yeah? Okay, so what the score mean? I believe that also give you an indication, right? That explain to you what the score mean. So I'll just do this very, very quickly. As you can see that if it's a yellow zone, which is 10 or greater, that's when that, there is a chance that, it's clinically significant condition. So that's the time that you might need to pay a little bit more attention and do get support if necessary, okay? And if it's a red zone, then I'll be like, maybe treatment is needed, okay? You might need to get support from, I'm not sure, maybe Lena, the scholar manager. That's what I heard, you guys do have a pretty good team to take care of you guys, all right? So that's a time that I will highly recommend you to get support, okay? And of course, if it's 20 above, it's a very severe state already. Okay, so what do we mean by depressions? I will just run this through very quickly. So for someone who diagnosed with depression, they will have depressed mood and loss of interest in a lot of things, okay? For example, let's say they used to like drawing, but after some time, when they're feeling depressed, even, diagnosed with depressions, they don't even bother to, pick up the paintbrush anymore, okay? And of course, there is some other symptoms like there is sleep difficulty, disturbance, appetite change, fatigue, restless. They feel a lot of, worthless. They feel guilty, difficult in concentration, memory got affected. Sometimes, for people who are more severe, they do have suicidal ideations, okay? And that doesn't mean that, once you have this criteria, you are diagnosed with depressions. It has to last for more than 2 weeks continuously. So guys, the period of time is very, very critical. So if it's just a 1 or 2 days thing, don't worry, it's not depression, okay? It has to last for more than 2 weeks continuously. It's not on and off, okay? And same for the GAD, which is the generalized anxiety disorder. What does that mean? If you have an excessive worry, and this worry is very hard to control, okay? That's when, all right, you will also experience some physical symptoms. You'll feel restless, tired easily, you feel irritability, you find it hard to focus, difficult to sleep, and there is also muscle tension. And I do believe that, as a scholar, there is a time that you might feel stressful, you might experience this symptom, but again, this symptom need to last continuously for 6 months. Only we will diagnose that individual as, having anxiety disorder. So don't panic if you experience this for just, 1 or 2 days, all right? It is very, very normal. We all experience that, okay? So what is the causes? Of course, it can be, biological factor. If you have a family history, very strong family history, there is a chance that you're more likely to get depression or anxiety with, provided there is some psychological factor or there is some trigger, which is the social factor. Let's say there is a negative life event happen, changes, transitions, sometimes that trigger emotion as well. So that's why it's very important to take good care of yourself. And isolation, that's why, during MCO period, during the pandemic, there is a lot of, psychological, people experience psychological difficulty, okay? Because we are all social animals after all, okay? We need to socialize, That's why isolation does play a factor in increasing the chances that we get depression and anxiety. And how do we find the right help, A lot of time, we are quite confused we're feeling confusing, when it comes to counselor, clinical psychologists, and psychiatrists. Do you guys know the difference? Any one of you know the difference? If yes, you can put up your hand and share with us your thought. No? Okay, so I can see the guys is discussing. So do you guys know what's the difference? Okay, who can prescribe medication? Yes, very, very good, okay? So psychiatrists, do prescribe medications, and counselor and clinical psychologists that don't provide medication treatment. So what they usually do is they provide counseling and psychotherapy. Okay? And what is the difference between counselor and clinical psychologist? So counselor usually they interact more with the general public, all right? The general population, put it that way. And for clinical psychologists, they will usually tackle or handle people who are, having a more severe psychological condition. And if we think that psychotherapy might not be sufficient for them, that's when we refer them to psychiatrists to get the medical support, okay? And then we might be thinking that when is the time that to look for a counselor, or when is the time to look for a psychologist or, psychiatrist, okay? So if for someone who have mild or moderate psychological conditions, that's when psychotherapy might work at that stage, all right? So that's the time that maybe they can look for a psychologist, not yet psychiatrist. But if they are under the severe category, that's when the combined support is necessary that need psychotherapy plus medications. Okay, does it make sense, guys? Okay, and a lot of us might be thinking that how does psychotherapy work? So some of my clients actually come in and ask me that, do you do hypnosis? I heard that hypnosis works better than just talking. Then I was like, I don't quite do hypnosis. Then sometimes, client even ask that, why not? Do you have like a clock thing, I think your couch is not huge enough, it's just a normal sofa. So a lot of sort of idea that the client will bring in when they come to see a psychologist. Basically, usually what I will share with my client is, when it comes to psychotherapy, you can see that as a learning skill sessions, a skill building course. Okay, it's a collaboration process that we, bounce idea, see how we can improve the things that we are facing. Of course, it's private and confidential, okay? Except only just one exception that we will break this confidentiality is when they're gonna hurt themselves or others. That's the only time that, we will call their emergency contact. But other than that, everything will be kept safe in the session room. All right, like I say, it's a very skill building kind of sessions. And of course, it needs to be a voluntary process. So no forcing, because imagine, a client is forced to come, they're very, unlikely they will open up to me, right? So that's why it's a voluntary process. And things to take note, okay, when it comes to attending sessions, they might be thinking that, do I need to take blood or urine tests? Trust me, nothing related to blood and urine. Okay, that is more on physical. And of course, in Malaysia, there is a lot of self-claim therapies. You need to be very careful, okay? Do check on them. Check on the background and the background of the mental health professional. How do we check? So for counselor, you can go to the Lembaga Counselor, Malaysia. There is a link, okay, just to see if they are registered. And for psychologists, we do have Malaysian Society of Clinical Psychologists. They do provide a portal that everyone who is qualified are under that list. Okay, there is also psychiatrists. Find the right help. Okay, get the right one from the Malaysian Psychiatrist Association. And in fact, there is also a lot of free helpline, free counseling that is provided in Malaysia. And I'm sure that, in UK, US, in China, they do have a similar services. So do reach out, guys, if you think you needed support, okay? Right, so after we talk about the support that provide from, those mental health professionals, what can we do, in our own time when we are away from home? So the first one, the A, is activity, self-care. Okay, I understand that it's a new places. Some of you might be thinking that I need to go explore, study, if you have time, even you go for a part-time job. It's very, 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 very hectic. Okay, but do remember to do self-care. Have you guys heard of 5 love languages? Okay? What is the first one, yeah, guys? Before I put you guys to sleep, because I'm going to run through each of them. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, the first one is? Yes, all right. Okay, but my first one is physical touch, okay? And receiving gifts, word of affirmation, thanks. I heard one of the scholars mention that, thank you. Quality time, and also act of service. So we can express love to others using these 5 languages. We can also express love to ourselves using these 5 languages as well. So see which one you suit better. And maybe, when you have some free times, it only take I would say 15 minutes, okay, to do it. So for physical touch, take a hot bath. It's more on the sensation bit, stretch your muscle after a long day, massage your skin a little, put some lotion, moisturize it. I heard that, weather in UK can be quite bad. Okay, so maybe that's the time that take good care of your skin, all right? Receiving gift, invest some personal growth, attend some course, buy yourself some gift, and word of affirmation, speak kindly to yourself, keep a journal if you can, right? Record down things that happen, good or bad, in a book. Quality time, be present, all right? Prioritize sleep, make times for hobby, mindfulness activity. And the last one will be act of service, cook for yourself, all right? Get dressed nicely, meet your friends, like what Lina mentioned, go for cafe hopping, all right? Check your physical and mental health. It's very important as well. Okay, the second one will be deep breathing. Have you guys heard of deep breathing? Yeah? Do you guys do it? That's the thing, okay? So a lot of us might be talking about, when you're anxious, do deep breathing. And not many people actually, I would say, do it quite right, okay? I would like to demo, but not sure if you guys hear me. Can I just stand in front without the mic? I'll try to, speak a little bit louder. Actually, without the mic is fine. Okay. So when it comes to deep breathing, when do we use it is when we feel anxious, isn't it? When we feel anxious, that's one of the symptoms when people feel anxious, they find it difficult to breathe. And let me tell you why, yeah? Because a lot of time when we feel anxious, we will tend to breathe in very quick, all right, in a quick manner, and we breathe in very hardly, okay? And I would like to demo to you how do we usually, breathe when we are anxious. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a demo, yeah? Okay, this is how usually people breathe in and out when they are anxious. They will try to inhale very, very hardly. Okay, and by doing that for just less than 2 minutes, that's when stress hormone release. Okay, the stress hormone will release into our body, and usually it will accumulate on the chest area and also the shoulder area. That's why, when we are anxious, usually people will feel that, I feel like my chest is very tightened. And when we are stressed, that's why, there is some shoulder issue going on. Okay, because it's all about the stress hormone that we have produced, all right, in our body. Okay, so in order to tell the body that you are safe, all right, you don't have to breathe in so hard, all right, you need to regulate back your breathing pace. And by telling this, your body won't understand, so we need to do it. So you need to breathe in very slowly. That's why we call it deep breathing. And a lot of people, when it comes to doing deep breathing, this is how they do. Okay, so they will breathe in and then breathe out. Okay? But that's not quite right. Okay, remember I mentioned that your chest is very tightened, your shoulder is not feeling very well. And yet, when you do deep breathing, you still force it upward, yeah? That's not gonna feel comfy. That's not gonna be comfortable. That's why some of my clients actually come in and they tell me that, Michelle, are you kidding? Deep breathing, the more I do, the more I feel uncomfortable. So how do we do it then? Focus on your abdomen, okay? right? You can imagine that your stomach is like a balloon. So when you inhale the air, how's the balloon gonna look like? Expand, yeah? Okay? Your abdomen gonna expand. And when you breathe out, what's gonna happen? Yeah, it compressed. Thank you, all right? I hear you, all right? Okay, so I wouldn't do the demo here, but there is plenty of video online. So they call it like if you Google deep breathing, usually that will teach you. But what we have here is, just imagine that you smell the flowers, you inhale, and make sure, yeah, your stomach expand, yeah? Okay, and hold your breath for a bit, and you blow the candle. That's why we call it exhale. And shake your hand, relax, and make sure when you do that, sit in a comfortable position. And I will recommend you do it before sleep. It works. It's very helpful. Even me myself, I'm doing that sometimes when I'm having a very, very long day. Okay, guys? So this is the second tips for you. It's B, okay? Let me go back to my laptop. And the last one is self-compassion. So let's say if you're having a very, very long day and you're having a bad day, for example. So imagine that you're facing, you have a best friend who is facing the same issue as you. How would you comfort your friend? Okay, because a lot of time, yeah, we'll be very kind to others. Right? We give a lot of word of encouragement to others. But when it comes to ourselves, we tend to be a little bit more straight. Okay? So self-compassion will be sort of the third tips that I would like to share with you guys. What would you say to him or her who experienced a similar thing? Right? Remember, give yourself a pat. We all need encouragement as well. Right? So this will be the third, which is the C, the third tips. And lastly, I would like to sort of close my session to share this. What do I mean by pump your petrol? Because it's the same way, yeah, if you can imagine, yeah, we are the same way like how car needs petrol to drive, isn't it? You need to look after yourself, you need to keep your tank full so you can keep going, right? Especially for you guys, it's a new journey that you're going to embark. So it's going to be a long-distance race, all right? It's not just a short run, okay? So make sure, take good care of yourself. As we know that, we experience different things in life. It's a long-term project. So therefore, you need to, take good care and pay attention daily to your well-being so that you can achieve more and strive more, okay? And most importantly, enjoy the time in US or UK or even China, right? So meet more cool people, do more cool things. But of course, I would say take good care of yourself. Stay safe, right? And before I end, another QR code, I was thinking that maybe it's easier for you guys. Feel free to ask me if you have any questions. Okay? And let me open this. I'll click on this so that your questions will pop up on the screen. Oh, God. I need to log in. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay, because the link is not working, sorry, guys. Maybe what you can do is you can just ask me directly. I think it's just easier. Sorry, because the link is not working. I need to log in, and I don't remember the login password. Okay, do you guys have any questions? Any questions, guys? No? Nothing? All clear? Yes, thank you.
So sometimes it's not just us ourselves who are facing
Mm.
these issues. What if people around us, people close to us, are facing those? What is our role in helping them, and how do we ensure that?
Okay, very, very good questions, all right? Before I sort of share my thoughts, do you guys have any idea? Thank you for asking that question. It's a very good question. Any idea, guys? Let's make it a discussion rather just, me talking in front. And I can see some of you, it's like yawning. And there is also some discussion going on here, all right? So would you guys, share a little bit with me? What would you do if your friends are not feeling quite well or they might need someone to talk, like what this column sort of raised out? What would you guys do? Yes, be present, all right? That's a good one. What else? Okay, that's a very, very good idea. Yes.
Actively listen to them. You don't always have to give them solutions, but sometimes people want someone to listen to them.
Yes, that's right. So it's be present and we practice active listening. What do you guys know about active listening? You know, we always talk about, we need to be active listener and rather be a passive one. Any idea on being an active listener? What would be the first way? Any idea, guys? Sorry? Yes, eye contact, all right? You need to let them know that you are present with them. So show them a good eye contact. And I'm sure that, sometimes we can't wait to give advice. You need to do that, you need to do, this. There's a very effective way that you need to do. Maybe at that time, they are not looking for a solution. Trust me, they Google it, they ask a lot of people. Okay, so let's not be another person who give them advice. So more on listen to them, empathize with them is another key thing. All right, what do I mean by empathize with them? So just imagine, put yourself in that person's shoes. What would that person feel, when they encounter these, I would say, difficult situations? And this is what usually therapists will be doing as well in the session. We empathize with them. We even reflect, okay? We reflect to them that, okay, this might be very difficult for you. Or we ask questions. So instead of telling them, giving them advice, we ask them questions. What question can we ask? So maybe we can ask them, how would you like me to help you? So maybe I'm sure that they have some thoughts on their mind. All right? So for example, let's say if you approach that person and that person ignore you because he or she might be having a bad mood, don't take it too hard. All right? So what you can say is, it seems like, okay, based on what you observe, it seems like you are not ready to talk. Maybe I can come back after 10 minutes. When you are ready, then we can talk. So at least also give them some time to prepare because it's not easy to just directly, open up to you. There is a lot of, different emotions going on their mind, They're feeling not easy. Okay, so we can just give them some space and at least let them know that when you're ready, then I'm here for you. Okay, very, very good question. Thank you for that. Any more other questions? Yes. Okay. Okay, yeah.
What is the relationship between stress and anxiety?
Yeah.
Because when you are stressed, you become more anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Too much anxiety can also lead to a lot of stress. So how do you understand this relationship?
Okay, thank you. Another good questions, yeah? That got me thinking also. But yeah, okay. So let's talk about stress first, all right? We all need stress, to be honest, all right? Without stress, our life will be very boring because it's not challenging at all. So a good amount of stress is good, all right? And when it comes to that question is, how do we differentiate that? What is the connection between these two? So anxiety happen usually is after we undergo a prolonged stress. Okay? And when we experience stress, I believe that we are very helpless. Okay? And when we are helpless, our body sense it, So our body will then activate the flight or fight mode. Not sure, have you guys heard of it? Okay? The flight or fight mode will appear. Just imagine that as if there is a tiger in front of you. So either you fight with the tiger or you just run away. And that's need a lot of energy, isn't it? That's when all these symptoms happen is your body is prepare you to run or you fight with that situation. That's why, breathing have to be very rapidly. You need a lot of oxygen, okay? And sometimes, there is a palpitation. So all is a biological reactions, okay? So it's all about the flight or fight mode when it comes to the anxiety. And stress that happen as well, but the difference is it can be calmed down in a pretty quick manner. Okay? So, but anxiety is a prolonged, sort of like a prolonged condition. okay, for more than 6 months if we want to diagnose someone with anxiety disorder. So imagine having that every day for 6 months. Wow, that's not easy. So that's when support is needed. So I hope I answer your questions, all right? There's a pretty distinct difference there, okay? So it's good to have self-screening, that's why. You need to know your conditions, you get to notice earlier, that's why you can do something, and so that, it won't go to a severe state, okay? All right, thanks, yeah.
All right. I feel like the second half of my previous question is sort of like a follow-up question.
Yes.
Because when we empathize a lot with other people, sometimes our own emotional health, mental health gets affected. So how do we ensure that we don't get affected? I don't know if you have any practical tips or not, since
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sure you listen to
Very
people
good.
a lot. How do you distance yourself away? How do you ensure that your own sort of mental health is intact while helping others?
Okay, another good question from one of the scholar. Have you guys heard of boundary? Yes, all right. A lot of nodding, yeah. What is boundary then? Guys, any thoughts? Yes. Can you share with me?
It's kind of like setting like a limit to like how much you can take from someone, how much you're willing to listen to before you need to like take a step back. That's what I think a boundary is.
Okay, yes, that's one of the limit, right? Okay, make it very easy to explain boundaries, yeah? As you guys can see that, between all of you, there is, between the chair, yeah, there is a little space in between, isn't it? Okay, there's a little space between the chair, yeah? Each of the chair. That's called boundary, okay? We need to have that safe space, all right? So that we don't cross the line. Because the moment when we cross the line, we might think that we will have the responsibility towards others. And what do I mean by that? A lot of time, yeah, we might be thinking that I should be doing this. When my friend is down, I should listen to them no matter what. Okay? When my friend is not feeling well, I should be doing this or that. There is a lot of I should. And the moment when we label that should word, it seems like there is no other leeway. There's no other options. So what should we do then? So instead of saying I should, you can mention that I want. So when it comes to I want, there's a lot more options. So be with your friends in a way that you want to do it, not the way that you should be doing it. Because when it comes to you should, there's a lot of restriction. And in fact, it's adding a lot of stress to you. That's boundary. Okay? So I'm sure that, throughout our life, our journey, we encounter a lot of, people who might need support. And bear in mind that this is so much that we can do. Same for therapists, me as a therapist, I only manage to allocate 1 hour per client. And I wish to do more sometimes, even that after that 1 hour that, oh no, there is so much that I need to share. But I need to be mindful that I want to help the client in the long term, not a short run, yeah, like what I mentioned. So I need to draw that boundary so that I don't overwork myself, and the client has the chance to take responsibility of their emotions and learn the skill that I practice. So it will be two-way then. It won't be just one-way giving in without the boundary. So I hope I answer your questions when it comes to empathize. Very good questions. We do need to be a little bit mindful when it comes to that, okay? So that we don't burn out, okay? All right, any more other questions? Good question. Do want to acknowledge that? No? All good? Okay, so you guys know where to get help if you guys need any mental health support. Okay, you guys have a team, Miss Lina did mention that. So do get help, because I understand that there is a lot of taboo going on, maybe my discrimination that, is it, I'm not normal if I talk to a psychologist, or if I get mental health support. That's not true, okay, guys? Because even me, myself, sometimes I talk to my colleague. I need a consultation as well. Because sometimes when we are in that situation, there's a lot of rumination going on. There is a lot of, things get haywire. And we need to talk to someone to guide us to sort of organize our thought, get some skill to sort of cope with the situation. Okay, right? Any more questions before I sort of wrap up the session? Right, so I will assume it's a no, all right? Okay, so that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for, having me. Thank you, Miss Lina. Thanks, Miss Intan, I believe. Hidayah, Miss Intan is not here, right? Thanks, Miss Hidayah as well, for having me here to share with you guys about mental health. And safe trip, guys. Enjoy being a international student. I wish I can, turn back in time. It's a very enjoyable experience, and I hope you guys, try for more. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you, Michelle, from My Psychology for the session. So next, we have our alumni to share their experiences throughout their learning journey. May I invite both of them to in front? Okay. So we have Amir Farid and also Carissa Ling Divan. Both of them are currently, you can see in front there. Jangan malu segan. Okay, can I have a technical team to give the microphone to them? Okay, so for your information, Amir Farid went to University of Cambridge, UK. So he did engineering there and now serving bond with Kazana. And also Carissa was a global scholar pursuing in US in Stanford University and also currently serving bond at Kazana National Berhad. So over to you, Amir and Carissa. So if you have any question, any doubts, you can always ask them. Just ignore us, the scholarship managers over here. So it's like a casual chatting session with the future scholars and also the alumni. So over to you, Carissa and Amir.
All right, thank you. Oh, this is cozy.
Yeah, it's very nice, yeah.
I think we're gonna keep this informal, casual. If at any point something we say doesn't make sense, ask us the question.
Yep.
Maybe we'll start off with.
Maybe let's just talk a bit about ourselves.
Yeah, you can.
A bit of
You seem very
introduction.
eager to do that.
So my name is Amir. Currently working in Kazana. I've been here for about a year now. Still trying to get used to things. As mentioned, I studied engineering at Cambridge. Before that, I did my A-levels at KY UEM. And I was a student at College Hasan Saad in Malacca. So that's kind of my journey so far. I enjoy playing video games and long walks on the beach. How about yourself?
I too enjoy long walks to the beach. I'm Carissa. I am from Sarawak. I studied at Stanford. Let me explain this. So I studied environmental systems engineering, but it was under the School of Civil Engineering. So if anyone has question about that later, let me know. I heard that there was someone in the crowd that's headed over there. All right, okay, yes, go trees. But yeah, what else? So now I'm serving my bond with Kazana. It's been a pretty crazy ride. In my free time, I like to cook, I like to read. Very
Yes,
domesticated.
Sounds great. We have a few a few things to start with maybe. So first of all would be why we chose our course and what we learned from the course. So I did engineering at Cambridge, which is a broad course during the first 2 years. So you learn mechanical, electrical, civil, and a bit of information as well. And in the third year, that's only when you specialize and choose what you want to do. So I did mechanical engineering in my third year, and in my fourth year, I took some modules which were both mechanical and information. So why I chose engineering, I would like to say that in my life, there's no rhyme or reason why I do things. It's kind of just like, you choose because you're drawn to something, right? I think I did fairly well in maths and physics in high school as well as when I did my A-levels. So I thought, the most logical thing to do would be engineering. That and as well, I guess to me, engineering sounded like a very interesting course. I looked at a bunch of courses from a few universities, and what I liked about this course was that it was very broad, right? Because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I don't really have like a goal of a job, a dream job that I have, but I know roughly what I want to learn more about, right? Like what kind of world do I want to be in, and what kind of things I want to learn. So I think in choosing my course, it was more just like, what is my own interest, and not necessarily what job could I possibly get from this. And I think that's kind of like the approach I've been trying to take my whole life. You sort of keep your options open, right? You don't really try to gun for one pathway. I know some people who do that, and that's great if you know for yourself, like your soul, like what is right for you and what you want to do. But I think for someone like myself who is just very fluid and like not really sure what they want to do, it's okay to just do what you think is the best at the time and take opportunities as they come along. And I think once you get to university, that kind of like broad and open mindset is very important, because if you want to make the connections and learn new things, you have to keep an open mind. Like you can't, you can't, I don't want to say close doors to opportunities, but the practical thing that happens when you're there is a lot of times it's people asking you to do something, and it's either it's a yes or no. And a lot of times it's like, I have no interest in that. I'm not sure why I should do that. So you just say, no, or you would tend to stick to things that you know, right? So the practical thing to do while you're there is to forget about all the things that you've learned, or all the things that you're used to, all the habits that you had. Like you will only stick to one thing, or maybe to one group of people. The fact is that now you're in a new place, you're in a new country maybe, and so you're never probably gonna go back there again, right? So it's the only time where you can really be yourself and try new things. Even if you don't know what yourself is, I think that's the whole point. Even now, I cannot really describe myself in a few words, but while in university, that's where you really have to find yourself. So I think, keeping your options open and being as open as you can helped me inform what I want to do at university, and helped me get through the course, and also right now through my job, because life is hard, right? You can't really box yourself in. You really have to keep yourself open and try new things.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you mentioned, and I think the theme that I draw from out there is the curiosity, right? And I think keep that alive. And that was the main theme that drove me throughout my time when I was in the States. And I think not entirely sure how the UK experience would be, but in the States, I was given the opportunity to just explore, given that it had the liberal arts sort of education system. And it was a really good fit for me, because I just explored, I think there was one point in time I had a check-in with my scholarship manager, and it was just like, I'm going to do public policy. And then I shifted back, right? I shifted back to civil engineering. And I was like, no, I need to explore my creative side, because I'm a very curious person by nature, so I'm just fascinated by different things. But I had to, at a certain point in time, you do have to make a decision. I mean, it's like a very simple thing to say, right? But I think lean back on, and this is where maybe I differ a little bit from you. Sometimes all the experiences that you've gone through, even though you're young, they all indicate things that you know about yourself. So take the time to constantly sort of reflect and think about points in time where you actually found maybe joy in what you're doing, or instances where your curiosity was sparked, right? And then kind of allow yourself to maybe experiment, give yourself the grace to experiment in different classes and all of that. And then I think it will slowly review to yourself. And there will also be other constraints within the university that you're in that would, I think, help you ultimately pick the major that you're going to choose. Why did I choose the major that I chose? This goes back a little bit to when I was growing up, right? As I said earlier, I grew up in Sarawak. I think I've always been fascinated by the idea of concrete physical spaces influencing more abstract concepts like societal like connectedness or social mobility. So I've always been, there's a team, right? It's neither totally like technical, civil engineering, it's also, there's a little bit of like humanities there going on. So I had a lot of like fun figuring out ultimately what I wanted to do. And I think sometimes practicality also is a consideration, because I was thinking in terms of which would be an easier switch, right? Or which would be a more practical skill to learn now. It's better that I put myself to the grinder and learn the technical skills, and then I can change and switch courses later on. So I think that was how I thought through the whole process, and then ultimately, I think I have always been interested in like sustainable principles, so I took a sub-plan that allowed me to like dive a little bit deeper into that niche. Yeah, so things like that. It's a lot of factors, and I think you figure out as well as you go on about your priorities, because there's no like right or wrong. Although if you ask me now what I would study in the future if I do go back to school, it would probably be something more towards the humanities. So you allow yourself the grace to like explore and
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a good point as well, actually. I mean, your past experiences are very important. Like, I mean, I said, forget everything you learned, but that was more to get into a mindset where you're more open to try something new. Right? But for sure, the person you've been before is the same person that you are now. But like, take all of what you have experienced and think about what you want to experience, and then try new things once you're there. So very interesting. A lot of reasons why you might want to do a course. So how about, what are some things that you did outside of the course, your extracurricular activities maybe?
Yeah, I was involved in a lot of just team sports, right? Recreationally though, because some of the folks there really took it seriously. Like there was a Olympic swimmer in my class, and I was just like, all right. But things like that, I think extracurricular-wise, I did a bit of, I dabbled a little bit in human rights. So I was attached with one of these organization that looked at like human trafficking, for example, in Southeast Asia. So that was a very, I think, it was a heavy moment to be involved in that, because it drew back it taught me a lot about how if you don't have like strong governance and so on, sometimes you lose human capital. You can't fully harness societies, I don't know, productivity. That sounds very cool. But that was one of the more like interesting experiences, and I think a lot of times people ask me like, why were you involved in that at all? Like, why don't you join a technical lab? At that point in time, that fit my interest. So again, I think it's back to the whole like theme of like being curious and just taking whatever comes to you, right? I think cold emailing professors was also a great thing for me. That's how I got like a role in that center. I did a bunch of public service related things as well. Yeah, so like after school education and so on. So I think I got to dabble in a lot of different fields. Yeah, and sports. What about you?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
okay. I was gonna ask, cause like, so you did all this like public policy or like public service stuff, right? So how did you, when you came back since, have you applied any of what you did from those like extracurricular stuff? Because those sound like really interesting things
question.
that you
I think
can,
if you talk about it in terms of my role now, both our roles in Kazana, I think it helps you talk to different stakeholders, because ultimately being in this seat, you do meet people who speak a more like policy-based language, like the jargon's different, and a lot of folks here they're great, very intelligent people, but we often think about things in terms of like finance, investments, but it's good to have that diversity in thought. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, I just thought that was really cool. So
what did you do? What were you up to?
When I started at uni college, they had this like fair, you know, so they show you all the clubs that they have and everything. And so one of the things that I rarely see is a rowing club, right? And obviously, Cambridge and Oxford are big for rowing, so I thought, you know, even though I'm not
Get
built
those shoulders.
for rowing, I might as well try it, right? You know, and so I would go into the boathouse and you'd see like all these really tall people and really, you know, people who are like really good athletes, right? But I think that was a great experience because, you know, it's something that I've never tried before, and, you know, I did become captain of like a boat, but it was the third team. But it was still like a great, you know, experience, right? You know, I went to a race and everything, blah blah, and I did that maybe for like my first year, and maybe for like 2 or 3 terms, but not the whole year. And I don't regret it. Like even though it was hard, it was fun actually because like you have to get up at 5 o'clock. That's not the fun part, but but you know the fact that I've been through that and I can say that, you know, I've done something like that. It's a totally different experience than anything that I thought I would have done, right? I was also involved in the Malaysian society, albeit it's a very close one. It's a very small one compared to, like, you know, if you go to another university, maybe in London, where you have a very big Malaysian community, right? So I just helped out mostly there. I did run for the role of president. But aside from that, yeah, I actually, as important as like extracurricular activities are, you do also need to make sure you have a good social group, good friends. You mix around outside of your course as well, because, you know, different people who study different things think of things in a different way. So if you're able to talk to people outside of your comfort zone, right, you get to learn more things. Do you have any experience
for sure. I was
with
going to
that?
say that I know a lot of times what society tells us, or practical advice is that, oh, go there, go and network and all of that. But beyond that, find your friends, find your people. Because I walked away from university knowing that I have these couple of individuals who I know I will count on them with my life. And I think that's something so invaluable, right? That you truly cherish. It sounds a bit cheesy and all, but it's also a time to form those friendships, right? Because you're going to walk away and you're going to be thrown headfirst into work. You don't have too much time socializing, but it's those moments that you get to spend with them. Like my group of friends recently actually came over and visited me in Southeast Asia because they'd been talking about like, oh, I want to visit Southeast Asia, Malaysia, and they're like, we don't know anything about it. I was like, come on, right? Like, and so it's a good chance to also be like an ambassador there of sorts, informal ambassador, and yeah, extend that invitation to them because there's also a lot of interest from outside to learn about, I think, this place. Wow, it sounds very patriotic, but it's a true thing, right? There's a lot of things to be proud of, a lot of things to, to like introduce people to.
Exactly, yeah.
And I had a great time when they came over. I was like, let's eat nasi lemak.
So you did have friends from overseas who came by, and so I think, you know, something like that you only get if you're able to go out there and make friends and actually do something about it, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, don't pressure yourself too much. It's actually a challenge. So this is one thing that I didn't realize, right? Like I would always think I'm a very sociable guy, right? I thought in KYUM, you know, it's easy to make friends. So I thought I'm not gonna have an issue when I go to the UK. Everyone speaks English, right? Like it's the same language, right? It's gonna be easy to click. But what I didn't realize is that yes, they speak English, but they speak much faster. They speak in their own slang. And there are some things that, you know, I can't really understand. And then when you try to talk also, I mean, this was at the very beginning, right? I mean, after a while you get used to it, but it was quite jarring. It was a bit hard to make friends. And this is one very specific example. I just arrived at Cambridge and there was this like tea at the Union for international students. So I thought, okay, this is a great chance to go and make friends. So I went there and I saw a group of Singaporeans and Malaysians all in one corner, so I thought maybe I'll talk to like other people, right? So I went up to these 2 French girls. I mean, I knew they were French because like I came up to them and asked them, hey, you know, where you guys from? And I really tried to make conversation and insert myself into what they were trying to talk about, but they just wanted to talk to each other. And every time I said something, like they looked at me like as if like, why are you still here, you know? and it's a difficult experience, but I took that in my stride. Like, that is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to talk to people and put yourself out there. The worst thing that can happen is that they won't really lie on you, but so what? You just go and find someone
You
else.
course
to do
correct.
something. Yeah. I could have just sat down with the other Singaporeans and be like, hey guys, how's the Southeast Asian life, right? But like, where's the fun in that, right? You can do that while you're here, but while you're over there, just really try and break out of your shell, but that's one thing that I want to emphasize as well, is that the great thing is that you learn how to talk to other cultures and other people, and don't think that is that easy It's because it is hard, but it's fun in a way, because you make friends that you wouldn't ever imagine that you would make. And so recently I went back to UK to see my old friends, and it's nice to have people there that some people who live there, some locals, and these are these kind of like networks that you make in uni that will probably last for a lifetime. So that's kind of like the importance of talking to people.
Yeah, for sure. I think we have to talk about internships.
Internships, yeah.
Yeah.
So aside from extracurricular stuff and talking to people and doing your course, an internship is quite important, I would say. I wouldn't the word necessary. I mean, I know a lot of people who are not a scholar, or there are two types of people, right? Some people, they don't really feel the need to do an internship throughout the whole 4 years or 3 years, or some do one every year, right? So it's really kind of like how much you want to try a specific job. So in my first year, I did a software engineering internship at Astro, and I think that was great, because it's you get to learn about how things work in the working world, how you're supposed to talk to a manager, how you're supposed to manage a product, or it's just good to know how things might be like once you graduate, right? Because you're not going to be in university forever, so you need to have that experience, that interpersonal experience, that work experience that will help you once you graduate. It is obviously entirely possible to graduate without an internship. I'm not sure if YK would allow that, but but it's important lah. Like I would say, if you can, do one in your first, second, or whichever year, but don't pressure yourself to doing one every year, because I know people who do that, and I don't know, some of them love it. They're like, I want to try every job, I want to do everything and like be the best and have like 2 months every year. It really just depends on you. I mean, you just do it at your own pace, and you do it at a place where you think that you want to learn the most from. Then that's the most value you can bring to yourself. Don't try to like push too hard for something that you don't see the value in, right? What did you do?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think it's super important, because it's a chance for you to test the waters, right? It's a lower barrier to entry sort of introduction to maybe certain worlds that you may be curious about, and then you're like, let me wet my feet, let me see if it works out for me. So I actually, freshman year, I started off, I was still in civil engineering, but at that point in time, I'd already like developed this interest for the policy world. Again, I've always been in between worlds, right? And so I was like, why not? Like, let me try to be attached to a policy think tank. And I did that, right? I found that experience very rewarding, but it also taught me that it wasn't the right time for me to be in that world. So what I took away from that, I learned that I had to build my credibility elsewhere, just because I think the nature of the space, I needed a little bit more credibility to my name from, say, an experience in the operations side of things, or say the investment side of things. So that might be a field that I revisit later on, but at least I tried, right? And I don't count it as a wasted summer, because sometimes people do sigh and regret over the fact that they're like, I should have started early on with this field and like build up this, I think, niche from freshman year, and then reach, by the time I'm at senior year, I've already got the job offer in my pocket. You can do that, but also test other, try other fields, and I don't regret doing that. So I did that policy think tank internship. And then after that, I transitioned. I actually did project management. So I did infrastructure and real estate kind of project management. This was back in the States, and I learned a lot from it. I think I learned to think about projects in a way where you were always aware of the critical path. Like you always forecasted stumbling blocks and so on. And so these skills are transferable, and I just, it helps now. Like even though I'm in a totally different field, helps me in project managing different sorts of projects that come to my desk. Yeah, so I don't regret that at all. You know, like the haphazard sort of testing waters. Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's a great use of your summertime, right? You know, especially for someone like yourself who wants to try a lot of things. Internships are a way outside of your course to actually try those things, because you're not going to get that, you know, at university. So I think we covered most of what we wanted to say. Is there any questions? You know, is there anything you want to ask?
Please ask questions.
Where
or
does
else we'll be sitting
Carissa
here.
like to party? You know, what are the best spots in the
Cannot,
States?
cannot.
Okay, sorry. What are the hot clubs? No, I'm kidding. Any questions? You know, me and Carissa are very happy to answer anything.
And you can also ask us outside later. Sorry, yes. Deep questions, tough questions. Sorry, what's your name? Sorry? Shamila. Okay.
Thank you for the question, Shamila. Do you want to go start? Well, okay. The first one was with withdrawal. There wasn't any like physical withdrawal or anything. But one thing unique about the time I came back in 2021, and so in my final year, it was basically Zoom university, right? I did everything online, and while in my college, I was just in my room. When I came back, I had to quarantine in a hotel for 2 weeks. So, I mean, any withdrawal that I felt was already sorted out by the time I came out, because I just want to go home, right? I don't really want to stay in this hotel. I don't feel the sort of like, oh, I miss the UK like immediately, because it's kind of like, it's a tiring endeavor, right? To do your degree, to do your course, to live in another place for like four years. The first thing you'd feel is the relief that you're at home and now you're in a safe place, you know. But after a while, yeah, you know, after you work for like a few months or like a year, yeah, I realized that studying in the UK is the best thing that I've ever done. And so, you know, yeah, which leads to, you know, what do I want to change or what do I regret? I definitely, you know, again, when someone asks you, hey, do you want to go out and have fun, right? And it's a Tuesday night, and you think I should be in my room doing, you know, preparing for an exam or something. You would remember the time when you said yes and went out. You won't remember when you sit down and do your work, because you're supposed to do your work anyway, and you're gonna do that the whole year. But you know, the very random times and the ad hoc times where you can go and do something fun, you won't regret if you do that. And there's definitely a few times where I turned down a social event just because I felt like I needed to study some more, and that's what I regret. So that's what I would change. But yeah, I mean, what do you have?
To answer your first question about withdrawals, I think, let's see. There will be certain things in which you miss, right? Especially at certain friend groups, just the structured sort of academic life that you're used to.
Yes.
It's very different from say your working life, where you have other expectations to meet, other pressures, other things to think about, like my rent is due and all of that. But yeah, so you have those things, but I wouldn't say it was that bad, because I think being there, I think I went there with open eyes. There were a lot of great things. I think I do miss the excitement, the energy in Silicon Valley, whereby people are always excited to ideate, to create a solution for problems. So that's something I do deeply miss. But at the same time, there are a lot of other familiar things here that I think I miss when I was over there. So yeah, I do, yes and no. That answer sounds like a cop-out. But yeah, it's all right. It's going to be all right, yeah. I think that's what I'm trying to get to. In terms of what I would change, so this is how I always answer this question. If people ask, like, what do you want to change? My friends give me hell for it. I always maintain that at that point in time when I made decisions, I only knew so much that I knew of. So I would not change anything of my past because I don't I don't think I have regrets. But if there are things, there are learnings or takeaways that I take on, I would hold them to my heart and use it for, I guess, like future decisions, right? Yeah, that's how I live my life. But to try to answer your question, I think I will continue being intentional about, I think it's similar to your answer, right? Yeah, take university as a time to form intentional relationships because those are what makes life worth living. It sounds cheesy again, but it's really the things that you walk away with. You're going to go into, say, a fluid mechanics class, but then you're going to forget a lot of it. But you're going to remember the times that you lean on your friends' like help to work through a PSAT. Yeah.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah.
Very, very well said.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
What are some things you wish you knew before going? Okay,
Doesn't matter.
Hello.
Sorry, what's your name?
Tia.
Tia.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what are some things you wish you knew before perhaps going overseas, or what would you tell your freshman self if you had the chance to?
I went first the first time, so you can go first this time. I need to think.
I'll tell my freshman self to not worry too much. I was anxious going there because I felt like I was leaving a lot of things. I was leaving my family. I was leaving things that I always hold dear to my heart and I find familiar. I mean, I was excited, but there's going to be a certain sense of anxiety too. You know, will I fit in? Do I deserve to be here? And to answer that, I'll tell you, you do. Like, all of you have done a great job, like, getting to where you're going to be. Yeah, and so you should take pride in that and give yourself time. I think the example that Amir mentioned earlier about how, he approached two French girls, try to, get to know them. Situations like that would happen. And I've always maintained, I think one of the things that I live by is that time is the best test, right? You'll find good people. Don't worry, maybe it will take a while, but you find them, and they'll find you. Similar thing goes for whatever you're trying to study. At a certain point, you will come to a realization. Of course, there needs to be intentional thought about it, right? At a certain point, you will realize as well that, yeah, maybe this isn't right for me, or hey, I really like this. I kind of want to develop a niche for myself in it. And yeah, I think giving yourself that time, again, I think back to what I said earlier, the grace to experiment, yeah, those are good words to live by, yeah.
Yeah, I would tell any freshman or my freshman self that the most important thing is to really make friends and be open, because I think that's something that I really struggle with, and I think that's why I talk about it a lot, and I think deep down that's actually one regret that I have. So one thing that happened was when I came into my first year, I actually asked for an ensuite room, like a fully ensuite room, just because, I thought that would be nice. But what happens was they put me into a separate hall from the rest of the freshers. So all of the first years will make friends among themselves because they live together. But since I lived separately, it was harder for me to sort of reach across and make friends with them. So that's actually a regret that I have, and that comes back to what I would have changed. I would have changed that because I genuinely believe that my life would have been different if I actually stayed with the first years. Because the very first few weeks or few months in your uni, that's really where you meet the friends that are gonna stick with you for a while. So one thing I would say is, yeah, I mean, you all are gonna fly, and you are chosen because you're smart and you know how to study, right? So I think that's something that is already there, but you have to make sure that you reach out and make friends and talk to people, because that is one thing that will keep you afloat. Because it's so easy to struggle and to feel like you're so alone because you don't have any friends. And I think I did go through a period of time. And I think in my 3rd and 4th year, I started to talk to the in-house psychologist, Mien, and I think that really helped, because really what it is that when you're alone in your room, your thoughts will bounce back to you, and all you have is the thoughts in your head, and all it takes is just to talk to someone. And we are very blessed that we have someone in-house that is professional and knows how to talk to you. So use it if you can, and that's that's kind of the thing, right? You just need to talk. Because once you let it out, you realize, what other things in your head, and you can, plan and do the right actions. So.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I think definitely, if anyone here is thinking about living in their own, like from the get off, like don't do that. Live with everyone. Yeah, I was immediately like put into like the undergrad dorms, and I do not regret it at all. It was so much fun. You meet people from all walks of life. You get to make friends with people from all the different schools that you end up in. Some are in engineering, some are doing like critical race and ethnicity. Yeah, lots. Liberal arts school. Yeah. So yeah, please do that. If anyone was thinking about getting their own place, don't. I strongly advise against it. Also saves you on rent. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Stay with the other freshers if you can. Is there any more questions? Yes.
Hi, thank you for taking time to speak to us. My name is Hanson, nice to meet you. I want to ask about actually work. So what are the different departments in Khazanah, and maybe you can talk a little bit about like the department you choose. So essentially for context, because I'm doing a 1-year master's, I'll be working like very, very, very soon, like about a year's time. So I wanted to know, like during your senior year or your final year, what was going through your minds in terms of selecting?
What are you studying, by the way?
I'll be studying methodology.
Methodology.
So it's like a mix of qualitative methods and also statistics.
Okay. I was gonna ask if it's stats. I see. All
So
right.
you were gonna finish what you're saying. You're saying what was going through our heads in the final year?
Yeah, in terms of deciding on which department to work for, things like that.
Right. So when it came to deciding for Khazanah, I mean, I knew that if I were to serve my bond within the company itself, I wanted to try the core business, right? I wanted to do investments, even though it's not really my field, but I just thought that that's something that I wanted to try, because I wouldn't think that I would enjoy if I tried the other departments within Khazanah. Do you want to know like departments or only within? I guess all the departments, right?
Oh.
So like, because me and Carissa are both in the investments
So there's
division, but
there's research, for example,
Research.
super cool team. They research a bunch of things from anything actually, like geopolitics to like the mining industry. So like, for example, like if you talk about like methodology, that could be a very strong thing to, strong skill to like lend to that team. You have the strategy team, which sets sort of the overarching strategy for Khazanah. You have the GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. So you keep investments folks and everyone else on the straight path. Very important work.
There's DNT,
digital and transformation.
Tech. Yes.
So they help us sort of improve our work processes within the company. Just figure out different tools. Sometimes like because we're so busy, we get stuck with always when we can automate it. So they go out and scout for innovative tools that will make our work much easier. Yeah, because we deal with quite a bit of data. Like you have to pull all these things and to like drive these investment decisions, right?
Then you have
finance,
legal,
yeah,
HR,
and you work with all
IT,
these folks.
Yeah. And I guess within investments itself, it's split into all the asset classes. So right now, Carissa is in private equity for technology. I'm in public markets, and then you have like infrastructure, power, energy, telco. Yeah, basically either by sector class or
a lot
by
of different
asset class,
sector classes and geographies.
And geographies as well. Yeah. So I think those are the main sort
and
of
there
departments.
are like offices in China, in Istanbul, in America, in
US.
SF.
So I think the decision making that I went through in my final year was it was basically just that I wanted to try the core business of Khazanah, and I knew that I had other course mates who did engineering, but they were going into investment banking. It's a different world. That's more on the sell side, but like, I wanted to know how Khazanah does the investment, so that's kind of like, you know, why I went into it. And I knew that, you know, maybe I would be pulled into a specific asset class that might be interesting to me because I did engineering, right, and we have like a specific sector interest. But that's more or less sort of the kind of decision making that went through my head, yeah. I mean, yeah.
I think for me, it's accumulation of a lot of different sort of decisions and exposure I had in the past. So remember I said that I started off with a policy field. At that point in time, I realized that a lot of times, whatever you dictate, you know, if you come up with a policy, it often doesn't translate into execution. The implementation side is tricky. So that's why I moved on into project management, right? I dealt with sort of more tangible physical stuff. So there was like a full-on development that I was working on, and it was really cool to understand that. But then I think I got curious and a little bit frustrated at the same time because a lot of the decisions were made by investment and finance folks. So in the project management side, I was handed a project and I had all these constraints already drawn out for me. And I think my nature was that I questioned it, right? I was like, hey, I don't know if this is the best use of funds. Could we come up with another idea? But at that point in time, they'd already gotten all the approvals, and I was at the final execution phase. So I think my challenge for myself at that point in time was to learn another sort of viewpoint, to learn another level, another stage in the decision-making process to come with, like, I guess, the final product, whatever that may be. And it so happened to coincide with the opportunity to serve my bond as well. And I was like, yeah, it's a valuable perspective to gain, to learn how an institutional investor makes decisions. And so that's why I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try this out. And so far, I've learned a lot, right? It's a very different way of viewing things. Would recommend it, yeah.
As a follow-up question, so how much flexibility do you get to rotate between different departments to try different things?
So if you join the GT program, the graduate trainee program, you get 2 rotations. So the first one, it's pretty much the first rotation is a bit of a luck thing because you don't have much visibility into the inner workings of Khazanah. But once you're admitted into it, throughout your first rotation, take the initiative if you're thinking about trying out that program to go and get to know the other teams and what they do. And then I think you review to you what are you interested in maybe for the second rotation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's bit, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. I think we have a very fruitful and engaging session. Okay, thank you, Carissa, and also Amir for spending your time with our scholars. So if you have any further question or you can ask them later on during lunchtime. But now we have to proceed to our next session, which is we have also sharing session from Dr. Raslan. Dr. Raslan is Senior Vice President at Strategic Human Capital Management of Khazanah National Berhad, as well as Dr. Anwar. Dr. Anwar is a Head of Education of Yayasan Hasanah, a foundation in Khazanah National Berhad. And also Puan Intan to assist in moderating the session. So may I invite Dr. Anwar, Dr. Raslan, and also Puan Intan in front.
Okay, guys, you see me again? Okay, right. We're very happy to have both gentlemen here with me. With us, basically, Dr. dah sikit lagi dapat Datuk lah tu kot. Dr. Anwar sitting on my right. He's the Head of Education with Yayasan Hasanah. We also have another doctor on my left, Dr. Raslan, who's a senior management member from KNB, particularly from the Strategic Human Capital Division. Now, you have heard from me earlier on about aspiration, some apa orang kata, I don't want to sound like an oracle lah sebenarnya, tapi some words I would like to impart to you before we say bye-bye to you. And you have actually heard from Carissa and so tadi with regard to, that's the closest age lah. They are your seniors, so they'll be able to share their experiences and whatnot. But I think for this session is very quite unique though, because I know that all this while you have been hearing from a line of squad mothers. I'm your squad mother, Lina is squad mother, Daya, Indiana is also your squad mothers juga kan? All mothers lah. And then you heard this bebelan from us from day to day, months to months, until nak pergi pun, nak fly pun, you'll get to hear the bebelan from us. But I think you also need to hear from some form of father figures, I believe so too. For that reason, we have Dr. Raslan and also Dr. Anwar to share with you, what's the expectation and some words of wisdom lah, and also encouragement, okay, from the paternal side. Okay, so I think with much further ado, probably I'll get maybe Doc just to share. I think Doc. I think just to give a bit of a background, Doc has been with the MOE for the last, serving in that particular space for a good 26 years. Betul, Doc? 26 years as teachers in the system. Lepas tu, and then masuk YH, also leading and heading the education pillar that works around the school component, school leadership teachers and students alike. Okay, so he's also, Doc pun study juga overseas dulu, so probably will be able to give you some points, some advice how to survive lah dekat sana and expectation juga lah kot ya. Okay, Doc, over to you.
Thank you so much, Intan, and thank you for this opportunity to speak to those who are about to embark on a life-changing journey. And when Intan mentioned that I have this opportunity to meet with all of you, it took me back to the time when I was sitting exactly where you are sitting now, pre-briefing sessions. When was this? It was so long ago, like 86. How long was that? So that was the first pre-briefing session that I had, and I went through 3 pre-briefing sessions. So I've been in your seat 3 times, going to 3 different countries. Undergrad was in Canada, my master's was from UK, and PhD over in the States. So I'm one of the most privileged and lucky individual who've had this opportunity. So I'm more than happy to be here to speak to you guys. Of course, when Puan Intan asked me to give me the topic of words of wisdom, so what wisdom can I share with you? You guys are going to the LSEs and Harvards and Oxfords, Stanfords of the world. Can I share with you? So I'm only going to speak on 3 points, but feel free to ask questions and then I'll pass it on to Dr. Raslan. Firstly, you will soon leave as students, but I expect you to come back as scholars. There's a huge divide between being a student and being a scholar. And you are not an ordinary scholar. You are a Yayasan Khazanah scholar. So the expectations that we have for you is huge. And I expect every one of you to fulfill this expectation. So in becoming a scholar, in my mind, I'm already seeing you as graduates. It's a given. Yeah? Going to the university, attending classes, doing your exams, graduating is a given for me. But what's more important is not just getting that scroll. That scroll is a process. But what's more important for you is to prepare yourself for the next 10 to 15 years of your life. If you are an undergraduate, your first working job, if you are a master's, to become, towards becoming a specialist later on, if you go to a PhD level. So you need to prepare yourself, not just to get a degree, but prepare yourself for your work life after you have left the university. Because expectations will be high. If you were to come, you spoke from Khazanah National. When you come back the first day, when I first joined Hasana in Khazanah, the expectations was already up there. You are put in the deep end and you're expected to swim. There is no time to tread water. There is not much time to really learn on the job because you are a different batch. You are the cream of the cream of the cream. And you must fulfill this. So take time, apart from attending classes, doing your assignments, doing exams, to prepare yourself for the next phase of your journey. Now, bukan tunggu graduate baru nak prepare nak kerja apa. You already know what's your trajectory moving forward. So this includes you need to really spend your time at university well. Attend not just your classes, but if there are brown bags, there are talks, there are seminars and conferences, make it a point, make time to really build yourself in the field that you are in, because you will need it once you graduate, once you enter the next phase, the world of work. And people like me, Dr. Raslan, our knowledge is from 20, 30 years back when we were in your shoes. But we need your expertise, getting the latest, the freshest of new knowledge in your field to help us in Khazanah and also in Yayasan Hasanah. Ask a lot of questions. Kadang-kadang kita ni Malaysian, very seldom that we stand up and ask questions. And people, you know yourself, there are no stupid questions. Ask a lot of questions, speak to people, as many people as possible. Read with purpose. Kadang-kadang tu we are so, going to a big university, you grab wherever and read. Well, it's going to be a waste of time. So if you are at a master's program and you are expected to do a dissertation, a mini dissertation, or a project paper at the end of your 1 year, okay? The best tip that I can give you is that to pin your topic within the first 2 to 3 months. Paling lewat. Why? Project paper, end of the year, why do I need to really think now? Shouldn't I just attend classes and learn as much as possible, only find a topic, then it will be too late. By the time comes, when I was at university, what they say is all but the dizzy. All but the dizzy, bukan the dizzy sakit kepala, but everything but dissertation. You get a string of A's, dissertation tak siap, you don't get your degree. Right? So why you need to pin down your topic as early as possible? Because in many instances, you can shape the assignments that you write. And if you have the topic, then you can shape your assignments to contribute to your final dissertation or final paper. So by the time you reach the 7th, 8th, or 9th month, you have already completed at least half of the paper itself via the assignments that you write. So you don't just simply write to fulfill the assignment, but you do the assignment with purpose, because everything that you do in month 2, 3, 4, 5, when you are taking that courses, you are doing the assignments, they are all contributing to your dissertation, to your thesis. That's how I survived my PhD dissertation. By the time I finish all the courses, finish the comprehensive exam, my 3 chapters dah siap. So I only need to work on collecting data and write my final chapter. Whereas some students, masa itulah baru nak fikir tajuk apa nak buat. Dan itu yang tak habis. 7 years still doing the PhD. So you need to strategize the work that you'll be doing, whether you are at undergrad level or PhD level. So I mentioned tadi, read with purpose. The other thing, another tip. So when you read, whether it's books or journal articles, what I do, this is what works for me. I use post-it notes. Maybe today they have more, sophisticated. But back then it was post-it notes. So I have different colors for different chapters of my final paper. Let's say I take green for something for the final chapter, which is recommendations. So what I read, if I find a good recommendation, I would tag it green. So when I compile all the reading materials, I only need to find the green tags, and I know these are the things that I can use for my final chapter. So taklah you have a whole pile of journal articles that you photocopied, this whole pile of books, but you have no idea where exactly are the quotes that you wanted to use. So that's what I do. I tag according to chapters, the things that I read that's suitable for the methodology chapter, so it's a different color. It's one color. If it's for the literature review, it's one color. So that when I go back, I just look at the colors and I know where to find. There could be other methods that works. Okay, that's the first point, become a scholar. Second point is network. Okay, this is the time where you will meet the best of individuals in your field, the best brains in your field. Not only the professors, but also your classmates, your peers. Because I've got classmates who were in the same classroom. Today, they are tenured professors at renowned universities in the States, and we keep in touch. I keep in touch with my dissertation supervisor up till today, either on Facebook, WhatsApp, email, and so on. Because these contacts that you make during the time at your university are the ones who will help you in years to come. Okay, there's always a need to get connected with people who are in your field. So use this time to create your network of people whom will be your closest ally moving forward in whatever you do. So kalau in uni you'll find out soon enough. Typically kalau Friday night tu, the only ones in the library or at the cafe studying are Chinese students from China and Malaysian. The rest of the student population are out socializing and partying on Friday nights. Tapi I think Puan Intan, I think she wouldn't object to you guys studying on Friday nights, but what I'm saying is that find that balance. Find that balance. Go out, meet people, socialize, make friends, create your network. And when we speak of network, it is something that has to be nurtured. It is not just give me, I get your business card and that's it. That's not a network. You need to nurture this relationship with these people. And my last word of wisdom as such, reward yourself. You need to keep your energy high. When I say reward yourself, doesn't mean that by the end of the year, as a reward, bila dah graduate, I'll go to Rome, for example. that's a little bit too far ahead in time. You could burn out way before that. Yeah? So build in small rewards for yourself. Once you've reached a significant milestone, katalah you're really interested to catch Phantom of the Opera in London. You've completed that milestone, go and catch Phantom of the Opera. Yeah? If you're a football fan, go catch a football game. If you like fishing, do that. If those of you, siapa yang pergi Harvard, you want to get a fat, juicy lobster as a reward, go ahead. Build that reward for you so that you can keep your energy high. So that is important. Take care of your mental health, take care of your health, eat well, because you need to be at your very best at this level of studies. So can I just stop down and let Dr. Raslan speak?
Thanks, Doc. Those are very, very good points. Don't you think so? Network, reward yourself, start early in your dissertation, kan? All good pointers, not only to the undergraduate but postgraduate as well. And I particularly like the part where network too, because you need to build your network, and it will help you tremendously well once you have graduated and when you need to sort of venture and push through whatever agenda that you have in that space when you already built that kind of network. Thanks, Doc, for that sharing. Now let's move to the gentleman sitting on my left. Dr. Raslan. Dr. Raslan is very interesting because, I got to know Dr. Raslan. I was also a scholarship manager for Dr. Raslan then, because Dr. Raslan dulu was actually a Khazanah YK for you scholar, kan? And we sent him for a study, MPP, was it? MPA with Harvard, in Harvard, okay? So, very easy to take care of Dr. Raslan as a postgraduate, very mature student. Okay, so mendengar kata. Okay, then all right, Doc, over to you. Maybe you can also share some tip or two with these fellow scholars. I'll be flying soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Intan, and thank you, Doc. Assalamualaikum, everyone. It's 12 noon sharp, so I don't want to take too much of everybody's time. Friday tends to be a bit short, but maybe I'll just give a quick summary in terms of my journey, and then maybe some tips lah in terms of when you graduate, and then and for those of you who are continuing with your masters or PhD, what to look out for. But essentially, I think, and I think my theme, I've not really thought too much and not as sort of organized as Dr. Anwar. His little thesis of notes over there, but I think the thing that I want to focus on is really the contrasting environment between when we were a student and when you guys are a student. I think there's a huge contrast in terms of the environment that we are going through. Yes, 20, 30 years ago when I was in your shoes, and I think I was probably headed to the UK. So by the way, I did my diploma, my first degree and masters and PhD in the UK, and then during my professional life a year at the Kennedy School. So I think that the early years was quite interesting because we were a bunch of Tenaga scholars that were sent to the UK after SPM. So imagine at 17 or 18, there were 18 of us, being sent as a group to various parts in the UK. And at the time, I think you guys, when you enter university, you would have your accommodation offered, sort of provided by the universities. I think in most cases, in the UK, in the first year, you're guaranteed accommodation. So I think for us, we were college students then. So we, among the 6 or 7 of us, so I was in Coventry for the first 2 years during the diploma. We had to sort of look and rent out, rent a house, as students. So the things that we had to go through, things like you had to deal with the landlord, first look for the house, then deal with the landlord, pay your bills, pay your council tax. So there are a lot of learnings. Even the laundry, the coin-operated laundries, we had to do those things ourselves. I think it come to some point when we had some money, we could actually rent or had a washing machine in the house. So there were those kind of learnings that I went through. So a lot of sort of engagements early on with people in a foreign country. Obviously it's an English-speaking country that we all had to deal with. So I think that was a very early exposure. But it taught us about engagement lah. Right, people that you've never come across in different cultures and all that. And then went off to university, so then I think a bit like you guys, of course you apply for the course, get entry, and then go through the motions. And I think Dr. Anwar had spent quite a bit of time in terms of what you would go through Of course, academic is a given. I think most of you, inshallah, God willing, will pass through with flying colors. And then, and I think it's really during the 3 years of your degree program that you begin to sort of probably realize in terms of your areas of interest. Because sometimes before you go for the degree program, you may not know. And I think that's why some people, even after the degree program, they're still figuring out what they want to do, right? But the things that you will go through, networking, trying to strike the balance between, studies and having fun and rewarding yourself, as Dr. Wan said, is very important. And I think what's important is because you'll be there as a group of Malaysians within, a broader community of international students. That's why I think if you are, stay together so that you guys are stronger. But obviously, don't just stay within yourselves, because then you want to create a little kampung Malaysia lah, right? So go out and explore and engage with other communities out there. So I think that's important. And I think inevitably, as you go through that process, you would mature and your minds will be broadened. And you would discover things that you thought perhaps you don't see. There are many things in this part of the world that you may not see until you are there lah. So I think that's the advantage of you guys going there, because I can't describe, but once you're down on the ground, then you sort of explore and realize yourself, right? What's happening. So I think the sort of the biggest difference now, and then again, is about how much exposure we had versus how much exposures you would have or will be getting. As it is right now, in the internet world, in the social media world, you guys, at this age would have exposed to tons more things that we were exposed during your age, right? So when we went there, we were like quite blur, like, just go with the flow kind of thing, don't have to check messages and all that. Still writing letters and posting those hard copy letters back home. So with the exposure that you have, then obviously, sometimes I think the danger is, the good thing is that you have a lot of information at your fingertips, right? But at the same time, you may be overwhelmed with all that, and how do you deal with it, right? And I think if you look at the last couple of years, especially during COVID, there's a lot of issues with mental stress, regardless of age, whether it's professional at our level or as students, because of, I guess to me, I'm just trying to hypothesize that there's an overwhelming information that goes into your brain on a daily basis.
Okay, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for your participation for your pre-departure program. We would like to invite all the mentors and also scholars for a photo group session.